Hello, everyone! Welcome to our Guiding Light listening party. I'm super excited. Hello, everyone! And, yeah, let's first of all, I want to say hi to everyone that's here already. Brian, sounds awesome casting this onto your TV and playing Fire Emblem on Maddening. I fully approve of playing Fire Emblem on Maddening. I'm almost done my Maddening run with the Golden Deer House, and it's really fun. I love it on the hard difficulty. And Luke, Instrument Maniac, hello. Nice to see you. Preparing dinner while listening, awesome. Michael Rittenberry, how you doing? Jose, Lugia, Ragnar, hello. And See the Alchemist, Andrew, Dean, Barbara, thank you all so much for being here. It's sort of been a little bit weird because, you know, just being at home, everything kind of just feels very normal, even though I've gotten the CDs and it's coming out tomorrow. It's sort of like actually being here in front of you guys feels really different, and I'm really, really excited. So yeah, I think, so what we're going to do is I'm going to switch us over to our listening screen. Ooh, magic. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to offer a little bit of commentary on some of the tracks, and then we'll listen to them together. And then by the time we're done, it'll be almost release time. It's not going to probably take us right up to midnight Eastern time. But, you know, it'll be close, and then I'm going to go and update everyone that bought the digital pre-order from my website so that is ready for them right at midnight. Wow, Ragnar hating on me. For everyone that doesn't know, Ragnar is my fiance, and he's just pulling my leg, so hashtag keep harp streams rare. Yeah, so, and hi Forrest, nice to see you. Steven, hello, glad you could make it. Thank you so much. So I think without further ado, we're going to get started with the first track on the album. I'm like so nervous right now for you guys to actually hear it. And I'm like, you guys are going to see my face while listening to it. And hi, and take care from France. I know it's like 4 a.m. for you right now, so thanks for stopping by. Okay, all right. Here we go. First track on the album. The Octopath Traveler main theme. I'm just going to mute myself. Well, yeah, we're going to listen. I'll talk about it after. I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to hear me like breathing and all of that. All right. Okay. Take care from Brazil. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's go. Let's listen. All right, what you guys think? This is so exciting, seriously. Yeah, I really love the ending on that one. That was really, really fun. I don't get to do such a big, like, fanfare kind of things very often, so. Oh, thank you so much, Luke. I really agonized over the mixing and the audio levels and everything, so thank you very much. Yeah, so that at the end there, it's actually just a trill. We take two hands and do a quick little trill there. But yeah, definitely didn't hear me breathing. Yeah, I muted my microphone, so thank you all so much. This is really something else. I'm really glad I decided to do this, and I'm really glad that you're all here. So yeah, with the main theme, that one was really interesting to arrange because it's so, like, busy. And, yes, Bilbo is like, hello. Snacks anytime would be great. Bilbo's my cat, so you might hear him meowing a bit. But arranging it, you know, there was so much going on, and there's so many, like, repeated notes. There's, like, this dun 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 that really propels the music. But repeated notes on the harp don't really work super well, so figuring out how to do the accompaniment for that was really interesting, and then, like, doing some things like adding in glissandos and that sort of thing to, yeah, create flourishes that otherwise would have been taken care of by other instruments. That was a really fun challenge, so didn't even know what Octopath Traveler was, but that was beautiful. Thank you very much. You should definitely check out the soundtrack and the game. Both are great. Have you ever done a YouTube live where you play your harp live? I have not, but I have done that on Twitch quite a bit. I think I prefer Twitch. This is the first time I've ever streamed on YouTube, but the back end is kind of complicated. And also I have custom emotes on Twitch, so yeah, I kind of just prefer it there. How many harps do I have? I own 6. So, quite a few. There's a question before I started playing that song, is what's the hardest part of starting a YouTube channel? Picking a name. My YouTube channel name used to be Samia Antha. If you're there from those days, shout outs to you. But yes, hard to say, hard to spell. It was terrible, so I changed it in 2016 to my name. And yeah, that was probably the hardest thing, and it was terrible for many years. Glissandos are actually, like, prime harp territory. That's like, I actually have a harp here. I can demonstrate it for you. Let's just get you over here without tugging my headphones. So glissando, all you do is just, like, take a finger and just drag it along the strings. So it's very, very harpy. It's kind of our thing. Yes, 2016. What's the name of my Twitch channel? It's Samantha Ballard, just all one word. And there's links to that in, like, pretty much every YouTube video. It's on my channel as well, if you're having trouble finding it. Wait, harp on stream? This is not going to become a playing stream. I've not been practicing, like, the last week or so. Did I let Yasunori Nishiki know about this event? No. I think I tagged him in one cover one time on Twitter, and I don't think he saw it, so that's okay. I thought of it in the violin sense. Oh, yeah, because you would just, like, drag a finger along a string. Different, for sure. All right, who's ready to hear another song? Who's ready to hear another song? So next up, we've got Ophelia the Cleric. So this one was, there's a YouTube channel. I'm very excited, which is why I'm tripping over my words. But I did a YouTube video for this one and released the single on Spotify as well, so you may have heard this one already. But let's take a listen to Ophelia, the cleric. So with the album, I actually remixed this song so it would be more consistent with everything else on the album. And I used a different reverb and changed some volume and EQ things. I don't know how noticeable it'll be compared to the single. To those who have not listened to it 5 million times, like me. But yeah, that's Ophelia's theme. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys like that one. Frag says, love how a soundtrack can make your experience way better. Wish it was on more AAA games. In my opinion, a moment of peace and a sunset is essential to a single-player game. Yeah, there's so many moments when playing Octopath Traveler that made me just like stop and be like, whoa, the music is so gorgeous. So that's a big part of the reason why I decided to cover so many songs. Do you use the same harp for all the songs when making an album? Or do you switch it up? That's a great question. So almost every song in the album is recorded on my Lion and Healy Style 23. That's the one that you see in all of the videos pretty much in the last like year. So, I don't know, several years. It's like the light wood colored pedal harp. However, the one exception to that is one of the bonus songs on the album. So on the album, I made 2 bonus songs, and those songs were only available through the Patreon crowdfunding campaign in October, or you can still get them if you buy the album from my website, whether it's digital or the CD. It comes with 2 extra songs that aren't going to be anywhere else. So one of those I actually did record on this harp right here. It's Grandport, Center of Commerce, and we'll get to that in a bit. But I just felt that it was a very like Celtic sounding song and wanted to get that Celtic sound on that one. So next up is Flames Grace. And so I put Flames Grace next to Ophelia, of course, because it's, is it her starting town? I actually can't remember anymore. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Ophelia's starting town, but either way, it's in the Frostlands, which is where Ophelia is from, so it has a similar sort of feel, and I really like the way that the music was done that way, so that the character in a certain region and all the towns and all the map music for a certain region have a similar like instrumentation and style, and I thought that was really a cool way of doing things. It is Patty, you made it, you're here, yay. It is her town, fabulous. So I'm glad that we can play Flames Grace before you need to go to sleep. Yeah, so Flames Grace, I really agonized over the first chord in this song. Like, I must have recorded the beginning of this. Like, I did so many takes. And then now that it's all said and done, I still don't like it, but it's fine. I'm just being very picky. Dean has never played the game. That's okay. You still can't. There's still time for you to play it. Have to go to bed soon, but glad to catch some of it. I'm glad you're here too. Yeah, so there's that. There's also a lot of key changes in this, which made it very difficult to keep in tune. Flames Grace, Guiding Light. Yes, exactly, the namesake. I'm actually very happy with the name Guiding Light for this album, because for me, like, that's kind of almost what Octopath was for me. It was very much like a safe haven when I was really stressed out. So yeah, I think I'll stop talking and let you hear it now. So this is gonna be Flames Grace, Guiding Light. So that's Flame's Grace, Guiding Light. Yeah, surprisingly, actually, there's not that many harmonics on this album, but yeah, it definitely fit in well for some of those transitions in this one. This makes me want to learn how to play the harp. You loved it. Thanks so much, Forrest. It feels weird calling you Forrest instead of Jones. I think I'll go back to Jones because that's what I'm used to saying on Twitch. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, I'm so glad you liked it. Yeah, one of the hardest things actually about some of these songs is like figuring out how to end them, because like most video game music, it just loops infinitely. So a lot of the time it doesn't have a satisfying like close. So you have to like kind of figure something out that makes it sound like an ending. And I liked those long chords because it just sort of like lets it settle, I feel like. Compared to the violin, is the harp easier to play? Well, I've never played the violin, so I wouldn't know. I'm gonna go with maybe. The one thing about the harp is that it will sound beautiful from day one as long as you tune it. You don't have to worry about tone so much. I mean, you do have to worry about tone, but you know what I mean. It's not as hard as violin tone. The fact that I don't know this game makes it so funny because I have no idea what's going to happen, so I'm just loving this songs for the very first time. Well, I think a lot of that credit has to go to Yasunori Nishiki, who wrote the music for the game. But I'm glad that you're enjoying my covers of it on a first listen as well. What's your favorite so far, Michael? I have a feeling you're going to say that about every song, but I would never want to deal with pedals, though. You know, it's not actually that bad. You get used to it. It's fine. Although I think it's also, in my case, I don't really play orchestral music anymore, and I don't play anything that I don't want to play. So if something is crazy pedally, I don't really have to deal with those things anymore. So for me, harp is the best instrument. Well, me too, Eugenia. Me too. I don't play harp, but I'm a pianist, and I think the hard part is playing two different things with your hands, whereas violin is very based on posture. I can't really speak to that. I do think that every instrument has its own challenges, no matter what. None of them are just like easy. But with harp, the hard thing is the technique, and then adding on top of that, doing very intricate things with both hands at the same time. But, you know, it just takes time like anything else. But shall we get back to another song? String buzz is hard to deal with as a beginner. That is true. Honestly, it was after I was done university that I really sat down and cleaned up all of my string buzzing. But all right, so next up is Cyrus the Scholar, and Cyrus was actually my first character that I chose. He's my favorite character as well. I was quite intimidated by this piece because it's a very fast waltz, and a waltz pattern in the left hand on harp is like, it's not easy, especially because it jumps quite a big range. And also, at the end of this, I put in a bunch of parallel octaves with thumb slides, which was really difficult. Just because I was writing it and I was like, I could just do this to flex, I guess. And so that's the story of that. But anyways, let's take a listen to Cyrus here. So that's Cyrus. Man, listening back to this, it's like so many memories. I've spent so much time with each of these tracks, and I haven't really sat down and listened to them at all in like a month, I guess, since I like submitted the masters. Yeah, so this one was really hard. Like, this one was a very difficult one to play. I think I actually ended up playing a bit slower than tempo in the game because, like, I just couldn't go any faster than that. And there's a middle section where there's a string orchestra that plays this song. And there's so many, like, inner voices, and I was like, I need some of these inner voices in here. So there's a middle section where I put them in, and gosh, was it ever hard to play. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, that one was fun, and all sorts of things when I was mixing. I'm like, oh, there's that spot, but you'll never know. Yeah, so I'm really glad you guys like that. Yeah, it's also really interesting for me listening on these headphones because when I was testing all the mixes, I didn't really listen to them on here. I listened to them with my good headphones. I listened to them on my crappy computer speakers. I listened to them on my crappy laptop speakers as well as my phone speakers, but not really on here. So it's just really interesting to me, and it will never stop being interesting to me how different the same audio file can sound on different devices. But that's kind of off topic, I guess. So up next, we have Everyone's Sweetheart. But now you do. No, you don't know what moments I'm talking about. There's little things hidden that you will never know. Does each song bring back a lot of memories from making them? Yeah, for sure, because it's been such a challenge for a lot of them. Like specific sections of the song that were really hard, and I had to practice a lot. And and then in the mixing too, I really mixing these, I expected it to take very little time, and it took like almost 2 months. So yeah. I really agonized over the mixing, so plenty of memories from that as well. Things that I banged my head over, like bang my head against the wall, like, why does this still sound terrible? But you know what? We got there in the end. So Tressa, I kept the arrangement pretty simple for this one. It's more or less like a straight transcription, just with the repeat. At a certain point when I was arranging, I was like, I need to stop getting fancy with all of these, because I will never finish this album, and it will be very hard to play. But it was hard to play anyway, because the last section of Tressa has this bit where there's like, I'm not entirely sure what the instrumentation is, but there's like a clarinet and like the melodica, or I'm not exactly sure what the lead instrument in the song is. It sounds like kind of a melodica or an accordion, maybe, or a harmonica. I honestly don't know, but there's like that plus a clarinet and I think like maybe an oboe. I can't remember anymore. But they're all doing these like trading off like 16th note stuff. Meanwhile, I've still got to do the bass, and it was like so crazy for my left hand. And yeah, I think I only spent a week with this song before I recorded it, maybe 2, but it was really hard. But yes, I love Tressa very much. I saved her final chapter for second last. I did Cyrus last, but Tressa is just such a beautiful, beautiful young innocent spirit, and I love her very much. Sorry not sorry. You have nothing to be sorry for. Anyways, let's take a listen to Tressa. Here we go. great. Thank you very much, everyone, for the lovely comments. And Luke, have a good dinner. Thanks so much for coming. Yeah, I do think that all of these songs have worked really well on harp. It's nice, you know, because sometimes things don't, but yeah. Thank you so much, Lugia. I love how whimsical this feels. You really captured it perfectly. Thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed that one. Yeah, but I was just typing in the chat. I remember how annoying all the rolled chords were in this one because it's pretty fast, and I had a lot of notes going into rolled chords. And I talked about this in the VGM Academy stream I did a couple weeks ago. But while writing this album, I realized that's actually quite bad harp writing. So I actually took a few chords out, but I left a lot of them in as well. Probably, I feel like I shouldn't talk about things I don't like about the recordings, but probably the one thing about this track that annoys me the most is just like there's a lot of like string noise. Hopefully it's not that noticeable to you, but I'm kind of particular about it. But overall, I'm still very pleased with how it turned out. So yeah, so next up is one of the bonus songs on the album. So like I said earlier, there are 2 tracks on the album that are only available on my website at this point. Grandport is one of them. The other one is the Frostlands. I also want to say thanks, Patty. Seriously, nice job fitting in all the inner voices. I really died doing that, but it was worth it. It was all worth it. But yeah, so there's 2 songs. They're on the CD, which I have with me here, as well as you can get the digital version. And you get 2 extra songs. They're not going to be on Spotify or anywhere. String noise is just like whenever you touch a string. I'm going to make it really obvious here, hopefully. I'll play a low string. Like, that's really terrible. But, like, if you touch a string that's still vibrating, it'll make a little bit of noise. I think for most people it won't be a huge issue, but I'm, like I said, particular about it. Yeah, it's like the sound of your finger touching the vibrating string, or potentially like a nail touching. But yeah, no problem. That's a great question. But yeah, so Grandport is the only song on the album that I played on my lever harp. I actually recorded it on this harp right here. And this one was a really fun challenge. I really wanted to play this song because I loved it in game. Like, as soon as I got to Grandport, I was like, I love this. Like, I think there's whistle in it. Like, I love tin whistle, and I love this song so much. You guys didn't notice any? Perfect. That's what I like to hear. But yeah, so I really wanted to play it, but then when I started sitting down to arrange it, I thought, okay, I want to play it on the Celtic harp because it has a very Celtic kind of feel to it, again with the tin whistle. It has kind of almost like a jig kind of feel to it. And then I sat down to figure out what key it was in, and it has like 3 key changes. And I was like, well, that rules out my whistle, first of all, because whistles only play in 1 key. And also, I was like, I'm not sure that I want to play whistle on an album because I'm not that good at it. Yeah, so I had to get really creative because I was like, hey, I cannot do all these key changes on this harp, like, because I will show you. I'm going to switch to my webcam so you can see a little bit easier. But there's levers along the top of the harp here. So on pedal harp, you can change key by using your feet. There's pedals that change the pitch of the string, so you can change key. But here, if I want to go from F natural to F sharp, I have to actually manually flip a lever with my hand. And so if that's a broad key change across the whole instrument, I have to flip a ton of levers while still playing. So that was like not something I was interested in figuring out. So I was like, what do I do? So what I ended up doing was like, okay, I'm going to turn this into like a pseudo Irish jig. It's not quite an Irish jig. Like, the rhythm is a bit, I don't know. And like I don't know. It's not quite Irish, but like, it's close enough. So I kept it all in the same key and got just a bit creative with some of the transitions and stuff, but I think it turned out pretty well. Lugia says, Grandport is my actual fave track. I know I've said that for like every song. You know what? I'm right there with you. Every song is my favorite song as well. It was really hard limiting the album to 15 tracks because there's so many more that I love. Ragnar can be on lever duty. 2-person lever harp playing. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm sure it's been done, but that's really funny. Yeah, I really wanted to play Orwell Above the Crags. Is it Above the Crags or below it? You know, I can't remember anymore, but Orwell is like, I love that track so much, but I think I'm one of the only people that is really excited about that one, so I didn't put it on. I put it a vote to my patrons, so you can blame them if you wanted to hear me play it, but I might totally cover it at a later date because I love it so much. But yeah, Steven says it sounds super clean. You can definitely hear the difference from your earlier work. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, I had only just finished my first year of university, and I'd only been playing the harp for 4 years. So yes, things have changed a lot since then, and I'm pretty pleased with the progress that you can see on my channel. Clara says the illustration on the cover is really beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really happy with the cover art. And I think everyone else is too. I was like, I was really considering, like, should I get a picture of me? But then I was like, I'd have to, like, cosplay and figure out where I want a photo to be taken. And I was just like, I can't deal with that. But I think that my audience, and I think I was right about this, I think that my audience will like an anime drawing. I think I was right about that. Okay. Orwell Beneath the Crags. That was close. That song is... Yeah, it's so mellow. I love recorders playing in harmony. I love it so much, you guys. Ilu, hey, welcome. Thank you so much. No. When I started my YouTube channel, I'd only been playing for 4 years. If I've only been playing for 4 years at this point, my YouTube channel has been existing more than I've played harp. That doesn't work. And without any further ado, let's get back to some listening, and we're going to hear Grandport, Center of Commerce. So that's Grandport. I hope you can feel the like Irish energy of this one. The ending I feel is very typical of like Irish harpers. So thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, I love this. I love this comment from Jade. Every city associated with Tresha, you can just feel the energy in your bones, especially the way you play it. Aw, thank you very much. But yeah, Dr. Ozzy, welcome. We're having a listening party because I've got a brand new album of harp music that's coming out at midnight, so welcome. It's far less overwhelming than its original. Yeah, it's very like reduced. And the Irish jig style, yeah. I really love with this one the ornaments the second time through. It's very Irish. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. So next up, we've got Ulbrich. If you couldn't notice, I'm just like doing the circle. I'm doing the Octopath journey. So Ulbrich is up next. Ulbrich was, I think, the second song that I arranged for the album, and I was still going ham, being super fancy and making things hard for myself. So this song was interesting for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's very low in register, and you have to be careful on the harp because it can get very muddy because it just keeps ringing and it doesn't cut through as well when you're in those lower to middle registers. So some parts I took up the octave, but some parts I kept a bit lower. So keeping it sounding very clear was a challenge. Also, there's a part of the melody that's chromatic, D da 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 dum, like C, C sharp, D, which I had to do as a pedal change really quickly, which quickly became one of the least concerning parts for me because the rest of it was really hard. Josh, thank you so much. And there's a part in the middle, it's really nice and high, and again I do this thing where I have a single line of notes going into a rolled chord quite quickly, and then I have to keep going and try not to buzz, so that was also really difficult. Lots of crazy left hand, like arpeggiated bass lines. Yeah, so this one was tough, but it was, I think it turned out quite well. So let's take a listen to Ulbrich, the Warrior. All right, so that's Ulbrich. That's Ulbrich. Good old bro, as Ragnar likes to say. So, next up, we've got Primrose. Probably, I would say, one of the most popular tracks on the soundtrack. And for good reason. This is probably the first song while I was playing that like stopped me in my tracks and was like, whoa, this is cool. I do love a good like Spanish flavor in music. So yeah. T-1 song until Alphen. Very true. Yes, we're almost at Alphen. But first we got to do Primrose. And this is also the music video that's coming out tomorrow. There's going to be a music video for Primrose that I filmed with my friend Peter in my basement. It looks very good, and I'm excited for you to see it. Saying Primrose is one of the most popular tracks is an understatement. Yeah, not to throw shade at Primrose, but I'm dying to hear it. It's all good. You're allowed to have your favorite. No problem. Hi, Victor. Thank you. So, yeah, let's hear Primrose. Let's hear Primrose. This one, I want it to be dramatic, and that's kind of all I'm going to say about it. So, here we go. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked that. Jade says, oh man, this song is way better on harp. I didn't even really like it on the normal soundtrack. It's amazing how different it sounds. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is different, and I think it's definitely adds something different on the different instrumentation. Steven says, yes, definitely going to add to my Spotify rotation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. it's actually a huge deal when you decide to listen to someone on Spotify, so I really appreciate you listening to me. But yeah, I think this is the song that had the most kind of new material, a little bit more like improvising on the melody rather than just playing it over and over again, which was fun for sure. I think for the most part my style is more so like sticking to what's written, but here I think it just provided a little bit more expression to kind of just convey her story, you know. Like, I like the way that it goes from, like, you know, her as a young girl being totally heartbroken to, you know, trying to make the best of things to, you know, bitterness and rage and revenge, and then finally just kind of letting go of that and it being over. It's nearly 4 a.m. for you, Dr. Ozzy. All right, have a good sleep. But yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from from the Break and Boost Arrange album as well. I think that album is really cool. They do a lot of really cool things with the themes in it. But yeah, speaking of having a song on the soundtrack they didn't really like, but liked it more on harp, that's actually how I feel about Alphen. It just really didn't speak to me at all when I played the game, and like even after I, you know, decided to work on the album, I don't know if it was the saxophone or like the melody, but something about it, I just felt very blah about Alphen's theme. But after working on it for harp, it's actually, I would say, in my top 3 songs on the album. I really love Alphen's theme on the harp. It was really fun to kind of try to sound like a guitar and a harp at the same time, and trying to be as lyrical as possible. And also there's a part where there's like bass, a guitar voice, a like tinkly kind of ostinato above everything, as well as a middle voice as the melody inside all of that. And that was really fun, kind of like a 3-handed harp thing. So I think we feel the same about Alphen's theme in the original, so I'm hyped to see this. Yeah, I think it turned out really well, so I'm curious to see what you guys think. So let's take a listen to Alphen's theme. Yeah, so that's Alphen. Yeah, this is one of my favorites too, Andrew. It's actually funny. I think I would say my top three on the album are Primrose, Alphen, and Enveloped in Kindness, and they're all in a row. So with that, my soul is freed from the shackles of suspense, and I can finally calm down and sleep. Aw, thanks so much, Jade. Have a good rest. Thanks everyone for the kind words. But yeah, it sounds so different on the harp, and yeah, I really like the way that the bass sounds in this arrangement. I'm not sure what I did with the microphone that it sounds so different in this one, but I really like it. So, honestly love your arrangement more than the original. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so next up is another one of my favorites. They're all my favorite, but I really, really love this one. So, Enveloped in Kindness is originally for basically mostly solo guitar. There are some strings and other things that come in later on in the song, but oh gosh, this is another one that every time I heard it, I was like, "What is this song? I love it so much." And I was like, I've got to play it on harp. Like, listen, if it's written for guitar, it's gonna work on harp and it's gonna sound great, and it does. Thanks so much, Connor. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to sound like a guitar, and I sometimes find that really difficult because with guitar, it's really interesting how even if notes are fairly far apart in range, like they're, one's significantly higher or lower than the other one, they don't sound like it. Maybe it's just me that feels that way, but I find it very hard to replicate on the harp. I always feel like it sounds really different, but I think I did a good job. I think you guys are gonna like it. So yeah, here's Enveloped in Kindness. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this one or not, but it's a good one. It's a good one. Here we go. love that song. It's so beautiful. And yeah, I had a really good time playing it, like trying to place all the notes like as expressively as possible. Like that's my jam. So yeah. Yeah, this one is very emotional, so, and also very relaxing, so I anticipate that this one will probably get listened to a lot. Just finished the game today to prepare for the album release. Wow, nice, Connor. Can't wait for midnight. It's soon. It's very soon. It's also midnight Eastern time, so as soon as that happens, the album will be out. Assuming that nothing has gone terribly wrong. Ha ha ha, I'm sure it'll be fine. But anyways, we should continue listening to stuff if we want to be done by midnight. So next up is Therion. I know this is a lot of people's favorites. Jared, thanks so much. That's very kind of you. So Therion is up next. Therion, I remember I learned very fast because I needed to record a lot of songs in a short period of time so that this would happen. I wanted to get this out in March, actually, believe it or not, but now it's the middle of May, and that's fine. But anyway, Therion, I actually changed the arrangement like the day before I recorded it because I just didn't like it. Like the second time through the verse, I was like, not feeling it, and I just did something very, very harpy that was not too hard to play, so... this one, I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting to say about Therion's theme. It has a lot of pedal changes, like a lot. Like the B section, da 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 dee dum dum. It changes key like every bar, and it was a lot of footwork. Hey Miles, how's it going? Nice to see you. Anyway, that's all I can think to say about Therion. I do really enjoy his theme, but yeah. Here we go. Let's hear it on the harp. Short and sweet. Didn't do a whole lot of crazy stuff with that one. Yeah, I definitely, like the first few songs that I arranged, I was like, let's make this super, you know, varied and interesting and like do lots of crazy stuff. And then like as I went along, I was like, this is getting a bit out of hand. So yeah, a few of them I just decided to keep a bit simpler. But yeah, so I think that, you know, it actually sounds really nice on the harp. I'm really into like the verse. Da-dee-da-da-da-dee-dum. I think it sounds really, really nice on that range on the harp. So yeah. Next up, we've got our last character theme. Last character theme on the album. Haunted. I love Haunted's theme. Yeah, sometimes simple is good, hey? That's always kind of been my attitude. But Haunted, another one actually that I kept very simple. In fact, I just found a piano transcription and made sure it was very accurate. And the only thing I really did differently is roll the chords instead of play them solid, because that's more appropriate for harp. So yeah, I love Haunted's theme so much. Like every time it came on, it's actually really funny. When I was playing the game, I didn't realize that it was Haunted's theme because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really reflect her character. But it would always play during her cutscenes, and I thought it was more so like Enveloped in Kindness. I thought it was just like a background music that I had heard in other characters' cutscenes, but it turned out to be Haunted's theme, and I love it so much. Which is funny because Haunted is maybe my least favorite character. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but figured it out. Haunted is your fave. Fave character. Yeah, I don't know. I just, she didn't make sense to me in a lot of ways, but you know what? I can respect that everyone has their favorite character, and that is fine. But yes, Haunted's theme is just so lush, and I love it. So let's give it a listen, shall we? upon its theme. I love it. I love it. Dean is loving those rolls. Yeah, me too. A rolled chord on the harp is like, it's so good. But yes, the Old English, it never gets normal. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, and Zabrino is asking if this live stream is still going to be up as like a video after it's done. It is not, just mostly because YouTube ads don't really pay me anything at all. And if you listen to me on YouTube Music or Spotify or Apple Music or anything, that actually does result in me getting paid. So if you already use one of those services, or you're using it ad supported, it's a way to support that's not going to break your bank. So by taking down the live stream, I feel it will encourage people to listen to it elsewhere. But yes. But yeah. Claire asks, with which harp do you play in this album? I have a Lion and Healy, style 23. It's very old and out of regulation, but she does her best, and she sounds great in this album. The one exception is Grandport, which I recorded on my Heartland Harps Legend. That's the only one on lever harp on the album. I didn't realize you were on Spotify, so I'm glad you know now. Yes, I'm glad you know now too. Yeah, I try to tell people about it, but social media is wild and wacky, and the way that information disseminates is quite interesting. As my harp teacher says, to rolled chords, delicious. Yes, I totally agree with your harp teacher. But yeah. So. Yeah, I play on my Lion and Healy. I think I would maybe like to get a Salvi Rainbow. I would like to try it in person before I decide that. We'll see. I'd like to get an electroacoustic harp so that if I want to record covers fast, I can just use the direct line in instead of microphones, and that might help me create more often. But I haven't totally decided on that. Do you plan to record more harp albums in the near future? You're so talented. Well, first of all, thank you. And I do intend to record more albums. It depends what you define as the near future. I would like to do at least one album a year from now on. Starting like at the beginning of 2019, I decided like video game music and anime music is like where it's at for me. It's my one true love, and that's what I'm going to do with my career. And to make that happen, it means making more albums is what it means in my eyes. So there absolutely will be more. Soon, TM. It's just that this album, I thought it would take me, I don't know, 5 or 6 months to do all of it. And then I'd have a nice, easy January, February to get ready to market it and whatever. But no, it took me so long to do everything. So long. And so I just don't want to do that again. I don't want to set a release date for myself but until everything is at least recorded, because I'm really burned out right now, to be totally honest. Next week I'm taking some time off. I might take like 2 weeks off because I'm so tired. The last like 5 months have just been a whirlwind, and yeah. So I'm thinking about maybe trying to do an EP for the end of this year, and I'll keep it secret what it is for now. But yes, there will be lots more music for me, for sure. This is a super general question, but as someone who wants to start playing harp, do you have any recommendations on where to begin a la starter harps? Yes, I get this question all the time. I should really actually, I might have a link bookmarked. Do I have it bookmarked? Not on this browser. I think it's on my laptop. But if you look up Christy Lynn, Learn to Play the Harp by Christy Lynn, she has tons of really good videos on like what harp is right for you, etc. You're valid. Treat yourself. Thank you very much. I will. But generally speaking, like Harpsichord Harps and Dusty Strings Ravenna are the two that I tend to recommend the most. Well made, reasonably priced. They're not like dirt cheap, but if you buy something that's dirt cheap, you're getting what you pay for. So I was listening to your Bubblegum KK track on Spotify on loop for a few weeks before I caved on AC. Thanks, Roya. Yes, thank you. Thank you all for saying that I deserve some time off. I do, and I absolutely must, because I'm very much reaching the end of my rope. I like sit at my desk. I'm like, okay, you gotta like write this email. Come on, Samantha. So it's time. It is very much time for me to take a rest after this album comes out. But anyways, it's coming out in about half an hour, which is wild. Let's listen to another track. Okay. Let's listen to another track. So next up is Determination. And I think that a lot of people really like this one. It doesn't play very often in the game. And it's also the track that I'm the most nervous about. I don't know why. Well, okay, I do know why, but I'm quite self-conscious about how it sounds, and it really gave me a lot of headaches in the mix trying to get it to sound good. So, let's see. Forgive me if someone's already asked for this, but which of your Octopath Traveler arrangements are you the most proud of? That's a great question, actually. Which of the arrangements am I most proud of? I think maybe Primrose or Alphen. I'm quite pleased with both of those, I would say. Determination, wow, I love Undertale, right? And Determination who? Yeah. Determination is a great one from Undertale as well, but no, we're listening to Determination from Octopath Traveler. So anyway, I'm not going to say anything more about it. And here it is. Another short but sweet one, Determination. This song plays, I believe, in the final battle for Primrose. Possibly also appears somewhere in Honnet's theme, I think. Is this song possible on the Lever Harp? I mean, if you adapt anything enough, you could make it work, but you would have to take out some notes, is usually how it goes on Lever Harp. there are definitely some pedal changes in this. Also, might be interesting, I changed the key. It was originally in D. I don't know why you're self-conscious about it. Thank you. Thank you guys for the kind comments on this one. I'm really glad that you like it. But filled with determination. Yes, indeed. This one I think was originally in D minor. And I changed it to G simply so that I would have more room to play with range. Because I wanted that do-do-do-do-do-do-do to be in like a mid range, kind of in and around like middle C, and I needed the bass, and I needed room to go up high. And in D, it puts me really high to start with, and then I have to get like even higher, which can sound really harsh and shrill, and it's also hard to keep in tune up at the top of the harp. So I just changed the key. I know there are some people who are really picky about key, and I just don't care. And to those people, you know, to each your own, but for me, it worked better. And I did have a reason for doing it, so. I think it plays in Haunted's first chapter. Oh, is that right? Because I sat there listening to it in the game. Nice. Yeah, I think this song is really cool because it's like intense, but it starts with like solo piano and oboe, like of all things. Like I think it's a really interesting tune. Definitely this album is a success. Thank you so much, Clara. That's so nice. But yeah, okay. Sometimes we be transposing. It's okay, right? That's how I feel. You know, it's transposition. It's just another tool in our toolbox. Not gonna lie, I'm excited to hear your take on the Frostlands. That's the last track. So we've got one more before we get there. My Quiet Forest Home. We've heard this one already. I released it as a single back in May. And there's a music video for it on my channel already. Again, remix this one. I kept the same reverb on this one because I did not want to mess with it. Mostly just changing some volume levels and some EQ. I did that with a lot of Octopath tracks. Yeah, I love this soundtrack too. It's so good. But am I going to do another Fire Emblem cover? Right now I've been thinking about doing the Tea Time song. I think that would be really cute on harp. Honestly though, there's so many songs I want to cover, and it just takes me a long time to do any of them, and I'm tired of feeling like super rushed to like just put something out. So I don't know what I'm going to cover in the next little while, but you're going to see lots of music videos for Octopath songs, I can tell you that much. But I'm certain there will be more Fire Emblem in my future. But let's hear My Quiet Forest Home. So yeah, I think that this version of it, the volume levels of the different parts are a little better balanced. I think it's easier to hear, and some of the lower stuff isn't so boomy. And there is also some weird stuff with panning that I did that I kind of mellowed out a bit. So definitely would be interesting to kind of compare it to the single version and see how they compare. What else was I going to say about this? Oh, this was also the only track I've ever used delay, like a delay effect, because on harp it's all attack. So when you use delay, it's like very obvious. It sounds like a whole nother note. So it works on this song because that's what it's supposed to sound like. But generally, it's not something that I use very often. But yeah, the echo, the delay, it's very cool. Why did you title this album Guiding Light? I was brainstorming album titles and came up with a lot of terrible ones. I liked the idea, like, you know, if you want to find a central theme in Octopath Traveler, right? Because it's about 8 different stories. But if you want to find a central theme, I feel like this sort of like, you know, good versus evil, and within that, you know, the sacred flame versus the dark flame or the dark god. And, you know, Ophelia is always like, may the flame guide you, or whatever. And so it's kind of based on that. And then I was like, guiding flame, guiding. I'm not sure if I remembered that the name of Flame's Grace was Flame's Grace Guiding Light, but I can't remember if I got it from that or if I sort of subconsciously remembered that and called it Guiding Light. I don't know, but I was like, something uplifting, something, you know, there's this sense of companionship and something greater than just one person. I don't know. So that's kind of where it came from, and it was great that it was in a song title. And yeah, I don't know. I think that this game and the soundtrack to me too were very, I don't know. They're just a light. They're positivity in my life, and so that's a big reason why. Fabian, your English is just fine. You're inspired to buy a harp and you hope to learn as fast as you can. Well, be patient. Learning a harp takes a while. I played piano for 10 years before I started harp lessons, and I was still like really awful at harp for about 2 years. And then the third year I got significantly better. But even then, it was when I went to university that I got a lot better. But yeah, we have one more song to listen to, and the album officially comes out in like 20 minutes, which is pretty crazy. So again, if you want to listen to this after today, this live stream is not going to be up to watch, but there are lots of places where you can listen to it. So if you want to buy a copy, I've got CDs, as well as the digital version. Those are available from my website. And when you buy it from my website, whether you get the CD or the digital version, you actually get 2 extra songs, including the Frostlands, as well as Grandport Center of Commerce. And I'm not putting those up anywhere else. They're not going to be on Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. But the rest of the album, the rest of the 13 other tracks, they will be on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Google Play while it still exists, because I think it's getting axed soon. Amazon, it will be on. There's a bunch of new ones too that I'm not super familiar with. There's like a Russian one and like a Chinese one that it's going to be on. Deezer, it's going to be on Deezer. And also you can use it in your Instagram stories, which is really cool. So you can use it as a sticker there. Google Play, yeah, they're kind of merging it with YouTube Music, which makes sense, right? Because they're both owned by Google. So I think it'll still exist as like a player on your phone, but I think that like the streaming service part of that is going away. I'm not 100% sure how that's working, but for now it'll be there. Am I selling signed copies? Yes, I am. I certainly am. But yeah, so, yeah, so 15 minutes now until it's out on all those streaming platforms. And I do want to say, you know, people like to talk badly about like Spotify. It's like, oh, you get part of a cent every time someone streams your song. And it's like, well, you know, if your song got played on the radio, think about how many, like, thousands of people are listening at once. So, you know, it's if you want to do streaming, you need thousands of people to listen to your music if you want to make money from it. But so yeah, when you choose to listen to someone, that artist is actually getting paid, and like that's a big deal. And you know, artists are always trying to reach people and get people to listen to them. And yeah, I don't know. I just want you to know that if you choose to listen to me or whatever other artists you like, that's significant, and I really appreciate it. So, besides the physical copy, what's the best place to listen to? Which is the one that helps you the most? Yeah, so either the physical copy or the digital copy directly from my website. I get the most cut from that. And then I think Spotify pays the most out of the streaming platforms. I'll be sure to have Guiding Light on shuffle for the next couple weeks. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm on Spotify, and it is genuinely really helpful. Like whenever you add it to a playlist, the more streams something gets to, the more Spotify realizes that people like it, and they show it to more people. So I think that's one thing that is really special about Spotify is the fact that users can make playlists and other users can find them really easily. Like when I have used Apple Music, it doesn't seem like that's really a feature. And then you've got like your Discover Weekly playlist and your Daily Mix playlists, which are algorithmically generated. And getting on those is like a really big deal. And what I've noticed, this is kind of off topic, but I think it's interesting, and you may find it interesting too. But what I have noticed is that when a song, a track, gets 10,000 streams in 1 month period, that's when it starts showing up on people's Discover Weekly, and that's, you know, getting you discovered by people who maybe hadn't heard of you before, or maybe they did hear about me but they didn't know I was on Spotify or whatever. So yeah, when you listen to someone's song multiple times, that's actually really helpful. Yeah. Thanks, Sabrina, I really appreciate that. Yeah, well, that's what I've been trying to do, Stephen, is trying to really treat this as a business, because I think if you want to be successful with it, you do need to like really be analytical and purposeful with what you're doing. So yeah, so that's everywhere that you'll be able to find Guiding Light in now 13 minutes. And we've got one more song to listen to. So as I said, this is one of the bonus tracks. You won't be able to hear it on Spotify. This one, I think this one I put to a vote to my patrons as well, and everyone was really interested in it. And I was interested in it too. I think the Frostlands, every time I heard it in game, I was definitely like, oh, this would sound really cool on harp. So this is the only track that has like multiple harp parts going at once. Because there's a lot of interesting effects, and there's some very cool like editing audio magic, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback on this, and yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about it. I'm just going to let you guys hear it. So here's the Frostlands final track of our listening party. Here we go. So that's the album. That's the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. You know, the album is live in 7 minutes, so until then, I have a couple of other things to talk about with the Frostlands. Yeah, it was really interesting. So I had a general idea of like what I needed. The like warped sounds is actually just a reverse sound clip. So the waveform goes in reverse and it makes that really neat sound. Lots of messing around with reverb in here and layering parts on top of each other. Just ordered it. Thank you so much, Nate. I really appreciate it. But yeah, when I recorded the Frostlands, I thought I originally intended it for it to be in a lower octave, but I was like, I'll just record it in a higher octave just in case I think that sounds better. And the lower octave had this really irritating string noise, like every other beat, and it was like way too rhythmic, and it was so weird. And so I was like, okay, how do I get rid of this? So I like turned the reverb way up and like turned the original like sound file down, and then I like put the higher octave on top to like hide it, and it sounds really cool. And everything worked out really nicely in the end, but there's a lot of fussing with that to make it all work. And it turned out really good. So yeah, thank you all again so much for listening and for all of your kind comments. Asuka, thank you so much. I love how you place the tracks in this album. This is such an epic way to end it. Yeah, I think the pacing turned out pretty nicely. You know, I followed the original, you know, character order and then sort of tracks from similar points in the game, and it kind of flowed nicely that way. But yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys being here tonight. This has been a lot of fun. This is my first YouTube live stream. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go, but it really has made the whole album launch feel very real and very exciting. So I really appreciate that you guys care. So it makes me think of when I made my Christmas album a number of years ago. I made it and no one noticed, and that was largely my own fault in a lot of ways. There's various reasons for it, but it's really different to make something huge and like and people care about it, and that's you guys. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and listening and being a part of this. It's a really big deal. So I think that's it. So it should be live on all the places that I mentioned, Spotify, Apple Music, etc., in the next few minutes. As for, if you're going to buy the digital version from my website, maybe just hold off until maybe like 10 minutes from now, because I'm going to update the file that you will get sent. So for everyone that pre-ordered, they got one track to begin with, and then I'm going to update the file and resend it. So if you want to just skip the hassle and just get the full album, just wait until after midnight, but yeah, you'll get it either way. But yeah, thank you to your internet provider, because the connection was also spot on. Oh, good. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. That's kind of unusual for my streams sometimes. All right, I think that's going to be it for me. This was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that you guys like it. And yeah, okay, I'm going to stop blathering on now. So, good night. All right. Have a good one, everyone. If you stayed up really late, have a good sleep. And we'll see you later. Bye.